You've got to exercise. You've got to work all the days of your life. If you don't, people lay in a nursing home on their back and die in their waist because they don't pump it out. They turn them in the beds. They get you up after an operation and walk as quickly as possible because they know that poison will hang in the interstitial tissue. This is what you need to remove. Remember seeing Mike and Linda's picture at the first where they had the fluff? The fluff is gone. They changed their lifestyle. The day Linda sat down and talked to me about her grandson, that's why she came over to talk to me, and after she listened to this, she said, well, Mike and I are going to do this. Now, I don't know if Mike knew that or not, but, but I thought that was interesting. But this is, 3 things can cause dilation. We stay away from meat, dairy, sugar, salt, and hydrogenated oil. It'll cause stress and cause a dilation of the capillary. Hydrogenated oil, when I was a kid, they put bread on the rack, and if it didn't sell that day, they'd sell the next day as day-old bread because the fat would become rancid. In the 40s, they found out they could take vegetable oil and force hydrogen into the open bonds, and it would never become rancid. A Twinkie has a shelf life of 30 years. Wonder what your liver thinks when you eat that Twinkie and goes down there and that liver said, man, what did he send me? I need reinforcement some way or the other. We have a school right behind our house, and some kid dropped a piece of wheat bread on the side of the curb that people don't walk on. It was wintertime. It lay there for 3 months. The rats wouldn't eat it, the mice wouldn't eat it, the snow, the rain wouldn't break it down. It actually is better than formaldehyde. They may not even have to prepare your body after you die, but look at you go through the store and in the middle of the aisle, everything has partially hydrogenated oil. We search, we read labels. We stay away from partially hydrogenated oil. We stay away from sugar and salt. We may eat a piece of fish every 2 or 3 years. I don't know if that's too much or not, but every once in a while you say, well, let's have another piece of fish. You never feel quite as good because the body is already to a different level. And so stress is what you're trying to get rid of. The other thing that can cause stress, and I want to show you another picture here now that you know the fluff. Timmy was our neighbor, and he's the one that helped me watch that wheat bread. Timmy didn't have a job, so his father-in-law gave him a half a beef. He was eating meat 3 times a day, and he ballooned up. Normal weight's about 145. He ballooned up to 185. He said, I sat on the stool, and I cried, I confessed, I forgave everybody, and nothing would move through my body. He was so constipated. He was on 9 medications. He watched our tape and came over and lived across the street. He went from 185 to 145 in 5 months. But what's amazing, look at his muscle. He didn't lose muscle. Any other program you go on, you'll lose muscle. If you'll do this right, you won't lose muscle. And now his arms, he's got 16-inch arms. He found out he can pump with that nucleus, he can build more muscle because he's getting amino acids to build his protein. But this is a fluff that needs to be removed, and it's a personal choice. It can all be removed. People say, well, mine's genetic. And I said, well, everybody in Hitler's concentration camp lost weight. Genetics or not. They cut down the amount of food that they ate. You cut down the amount of food and you exercise, it will balance out. There's 3 things that cause that. Your food you eat, your thoughts, and lack of exercise. There's an autonomic nervous system in your body. It's a parasympathetic and a sympathetic. If you stay in the loving, kindness, patience, harmony, love, and gratitude, you'll stay in the parasympathetic, and your body will produce morphine-like substance. It'll produce endorphins and enkephalins, and you'll just stay on a high all day long. If you switch to anger or fear or doubt or negative thinking, you don't like your job, you don't like your boss, you don't like the traffic going to work, and becomes chronic, you switch to the sympathetic. If you go to the sympathetic, your pupils dilate, your digestive enzyme in your mouth are shut down, your bronchial tubes open up, most asthma is stress-induced, your heart rate accelerates, the peristaltic action in your stomach stops, you cannot get food in your body, you cannot burn fat in the sympathetic, you can try to lose weight, but you can't burn fat, you only burn carbohydrates, because the liver releases a tremendous amount of glucose, and it just floods the body with glucose. The adrenal gland releases adrenaline that starts all this. It also releases cortisol. Cortisol shuts down your memory. It affects the thyroid. Your thyroid cannot convert T4 to T3. It shuts down your thymus. It suppresses your immune system. You're very vulnerable when you're into the anger or the fear or the doubt or the negative thinking. 150 years from now, you're not going to be here anyway. Why sweat it? I figured out a long time ago when coaching, the first year I coached, the mother called me an SOB, and I figured, well, she's always going to take up for son. I'm not going to be here 150 years from now. Why sweat it? I'll just enjoy the journey. Your peristaltic action stops. Most constipation is from stress because it stops the peristaltic action. Most incontinence is from stress. The bladder relaxes. And so that's your choice. You have to find a way to have inner peace. It has to be your journey some way. And regardless, no one else can affect you but yourself. It's a choice that you make. Even road rage. Did you ever get mad at somebody driving down the road? That was a choice you made. It didn't help him. It hurt you. This is there's a new book on the market called The Hidden Messages in Water. Has anybody read that book? This gentleman in Japan found a way to photograph water crystals. And your words are so powerful. Every word is a vibration. Even the words you write on paper is a vibration, and it affects other people. I read Dr. David Hawkins said, one of the world's leading psychiatrists, a lady was brought into him one day in a straitjacket. She had been to many clinics, and no one had been able to help her. And non-verbally, when they brought her in, she was a mess, and she was screaming. He said, "You're a beautiful person." She totally relaxed. It wasn't out loud. It was non-verbal. That vibration affected that person. We affect each other with our thoughts, regardless of the distance. And so find something kind to say about people. Every time you say something bad about people, you actually put it in your own pocket. It comes back to you. It boomerangs. But he took a glass of water and wrote on a piece of paper, "Love and Gratitude," and taped it on the side of that glass, photographed the water, dropped the temperature to 27 degrees, and it formed a perfect crystal. Love and gratitude form a perfect crystal in the water in your body. You're 70% water, and you affect that water in your body by your very thoughts. They taped "You Fool" on the side of the glass, and look what it did to the water. It totally muddied it up. This is in English. This is Japanese. This is "You make me sick. I will kill you." Look how it changed the whole inside of the body. So your thoughts are powerful. Your thoughts control your body. And your thoughts control what you put in this hole right under your nose. But I tell you, addiction's tough. You can say, well, people should quit smoking, but you try to quit sugar tomorrow and stop that addiction. And stop the other addictions you have. You'll always have withdrawals. You'll always have pain. It's a fight. It takes about 3 weeks to break an addiction. But you better be tough. When you get up in the morning and you just got out of the shower and there's a mirror there, turn around and look who's following you around. And if you don't like the image that's following you around, change the recipe. It's really that simple, but it's not that simple. In that book, he also said they put rice in a glass of water and wrote "Love and Gratitude" on it, and the rice fermented, and it was edible. They put "You Fool" on another glass, and that started to mold and rot. They had another glass they ignored completely. It rotted faster than the one that said "You Fool." So ignoring somebody is harder on them than actually calling them a fool or "you're silly" or something like that.